Today, we will be talking about social communication and some of the guidelines. When we mention social communication, what exactly does it mean? It's all about interaction with other people. It could be with your friends, it could be with your family members, it could be with your colleague, or even with some random strangers. And when we communicate, what do we usually talk about? Well, most of the time we do engage in small talks, saying hellos and goodbyes. But sometimes we do need to ask some questions or probably giving out some informations. Other than that, communications could also mean making suggestions, recommendations, making offers or requests, maybe extending an invitation or simply expressing our gratitude. There are a variety of reasons actually of why and how are we involved in social communications. And when we communicate with others, especially during social communications, try to keep in mind some of these guidelines just so there will be no problems and no misunderstanding due to poor communications. The first one should be to try to avoid figures of speech or idiomatic expressions. We are trying to make a small talk and not giving out a formal speech. Like for example, instead of listen with undivided attention, we could just say listen with attention. It's short, it's straight to the point, and we can just get rid of those redundant phrases. Guideline number 2 is not using any fancy or trendy terminology, or as we know it, slangs. Trying to avoid slangs altogether is quite difficult as we are actually used to it by now. So a better advice would probably be try to use less of it. Most of us understand our local slangs, but let's say if you are talking to an old people or we are talking to a tourist, a foreigners, do they understand our local slangs? What do we mean? What are we referring to? So let's try to keep it simple. Number 3, when we're talking to another person or to another people, we tend to use a more generalized terms. So to make it better, we should use a more specific and accurate terms. This is actually very useful because we can either use it in formal occasions or when we are just having a normal conversations. When we use specific terms, we can avoid unnecessary confusions and convey a very clear message of ideas or information that we want to deliver. It should be used especially when we were giving directions to other people. Take this for instance. Let's say somebody asks for a direction. So instead of saying go straight and then turn left, we can say go straight 200 meters and turn left. Be more specific. Next, be very mindful of words which may have different meanings in different cultures or nationalities. One of the examples for this situation would be the Manglish term shock, which could be easily confused with shock. For your information, both have very different meanings. Another example is the word ghostan, which most of the locals would know the meaning of this particular word. It means reverse, by the way, but foreigners would be very confused. The last guideline, which is number 5, would be avoiding the abbreviations. Now, what is abbreviation? Abbreviation is a shortened form of a word or phrase. So, during a conversation, we need to be aware of the people around us, because some of them would not understand of what we are talking about when using abbreviations. Let's take for example MOP. That is the abbreviation for Ministry of Education. Or another one, let's take EPF, which is the abbreviation for Employee Provident Fund. Now, when we are talking to other people, some of them would know, some of them would not know. Now, foreigners and children would not know what is this abbreviation unless they Google it. Well, there you have it, some of the guidelines in social communication. And remember that these are all guidelines and not rules, so they are not rigid and a bit flexible. I hope that we could learn something from this video and be able to apply it in our daily lives now that we have these social skills, and be able to communicate better with other people regardless of the situations. So I guess that's all from me, and thank you for watching this video.